If you're not practicing these different subdivisions on drums, you're missing out on a lot of cool ideas and faster growth. Or maybe you already are, in which case I'll share some ideas and exercises to squeeze even more out of your practice. Let's back up. When we're first starting out on drums, we think rock beat, boom boom chick, Bob's your uncle. Then maybe we broaden our horizons a little and learn some fills. Maybe a little funk, little funky drummer. And all the while, we're hearing songs like Fool in the Rain, or If I Ever Lose My Faith in You, or Everybody Wants to Rule the World, or newer stuff like Latch by Sam Smith. But in our drum development, what are we working on? Booga digga ching. Don't put that on the screen. Then we get a little more advanced, maybe want to learn some faster fills. Maybe we even start to learn some fills with some triplets, or some hip-hop beats from the 90s or from the likes of Chris Dave. And if you're at a certain level where you have some flow and some ideas and some coordination, there's a vast reservoir of drum ideas you might not even be exploring with some of these alternative subdivisions. Like, peep this video from Roni. All of the disclaimers out of the way. This is drum nerd stuff for drummers. She doesn't play this way in real life. We know, it's busy modern drumming. And a lot of you actually like it. It's okay. It's okay.
Welcome to your life.
So if this doesn't compute, if you're not like, oh yeah, metric modulation to double triplets, if it seems like something out of the fifth dimension, this lesson may be for you.
Get closer, baby.
Or this classic metric modulation from frequent Spaven collaborator Rob Malarkey's band Brotherly, which every drummer has been covering for a decade. If that sounds like voodoo to you, and you're not like, oh yeah, playing with different ways to subdivide 12, just register that there's a whole rhythmic world here just beneath the surface, which has nothing to do with chops and everything to do with hearing cool new ideas. Unless you think that has to mean super busy linear modern drumming, let me just tell you, you're exactly right. No, just kidding. Anyway, I told you in sentence 1 of this video what the thing you're missing out on was, off the beaten path subdivisions, and how, before we even roll the intro music, I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. So all the get to the point bros can click away thinking they won, and the rest of you can keep watching to get the actual way I approach these, from most to least common. Simple triplets and sextuplets, doubled triplets, as in taking songs like Everybody Wants to Rule the World or Sam Smith's Latch and doubling the rate. And tripled triplets, as in taking a slow purdy shuffle and treating it like a waltz and thinking triplets over that. And all the ideas I discussed today will be available in a free download if you click the link below the player and tell us where to send it on the next page. I'm Nate, this is the 80/20 Drummer, and let's get into these alternate subdivisions, which will expand your musical horizons on the drums. Stay tuned. Let's first talk about the 16th doldrums. When we first learn a lot of grooves and fills, we're stuck in 16th fill. It's fine at first, but eventually you're kind of like, where's this going? Which is why the first subdivision to add to your repertoire is simple triplets or sextuplets. If we're talking fills, here's an example of how adding another layer of triple subdivision makes stuff more interesting and creates more tension and release. Even if we're strictly speaking groove, or depending on the song, adding some triplet or implied triplet figures can help change things up. Let me first give you a couple of my go-tos. For fills, I love to interchange these two licks. Here's number 1. And here's number 2. Remember, you can get the free transcription of these at the link below. By switching between these two, you can create interesting syncopations like these. I'll give you one more symmetrical one like this. This gets you into some Ringo Steve Jordan territory. For grooves, this is a deep, deep well. But here's a basic shuffle I like. But the point is, in this tempo range, you can just be playing a normal rock or funk groove and simply incorporate triplets or sextuplets into your fill. Really quick, why am I saying triplets or sextuplets? Because it depends on where you count the quarter note. If you count the quarter note like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then your fills will mostly be in eighths and triplets. But if you count it like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, then we're talking about sixteenths and sextuplets. Okay, let's quickly talk about that rate switching. Assuming you've done some basic 16th fill vocab, and if you don't, check the video at this card. I like to just practice switching between sixteenths and sextuplets once a bar. Then practice alternating 2 bars of groove with 2 bars of fill and switching subdivision in the middle. But that should get you started if you're closer to the beginner side of the spectrum, and hopefully give you some ideas if you're closer to advanced. Next, subdivision up the ladder. Doubled triplets. I have a whole lesson on these here, including why I don't call them sextuplets, even though they're at a rate equivalent to sextuplets. But the easiest way to think about them is to envision playing a slightly showy fill over Everybody Wants to Rule the World. More later on why everybody who talks about this subdivision rate refers to that single song. But another one I like is Sam Smith's Latch. There's a Kanye one too, but yeah. The nice thing about this rate is those same fills we were learning for the sextuplets also work here. The important thing is to shift your brain to think about putting the beat basis every 2 sextuplets instead of every 3. Just to demo this on the drums, here I am playing sextuplets on the snare, accenting the first of every 6 strokes. If we were to feel these conventionally as sextuplets, I'd just put the kick drum on eighths every 3. But to feel them as doubled triplets, I'd actually put my kick on every triplet, which sounds kind of busy, so you probably wouldn't do it in real life. But this is for illustration purposes. Another way to get the idea of these is to alternate groove with fill. Let me bastardize the standard Everybody Wants to Rule the World beat. Then I'll do 2 bars of beat and 2 bars of that third lick from the sextuplet section. Now I'll do the same thing but switch between licks 3 and 2 from the previous section. For you more advanced folks, let me throw in one more here that I like, which plays with that subdivision switch we were talking about. Reminder that you can download the free transcription of this by clicking the link below the player. And at the end of the video, we'll talk a little about what Roni was doing and how that relates to this. But for now, let's go on to my third hidden subdivision. Ooh! Subdivision number 3, tripled triplets. And groove purists, stop the chop trigger warning. It's about to get busy. So, imagine we took a Tears for Fears shuffle and slowed it way down to the quarter or dotted quarter equals 80 range. You could still do double triplets like this, but you can also upshift and play 3 notes in the space of 2. Then we get triple triplets. This is a little bit handle with care. This is a little bit dark arts. Like for the climax of the one solo of the gig or during a drum shed type of thing. Let me first give you 2 of my go-to shapes for this. Here's number 1. And here's number 2. And now let me switch between them. Now, how do we ground them out so your brain doesn't lose the beat while your hands and feet are going to town? I want to show you a little Bojangles style waltz, referring to the song by Sammy Davis Jr. When we slow our Tears for Fears shuffle down, if we want an easy transition into our tripled triplets, we can turn the beat into this kind of waltz with a backbeat. Now, I'll play 1 big bar of that waltz and 1 big bar of switching among those licks. Super brief section on what does this get me, Nate? There are very interesting and musical ways upshifting and downshifting subdivisions help make your ideas more interesting. Then there are the less obvious ways these extra subdivisions help you come up with fresh ideas. In the double triplets video here, I speak about the instincts we get for knowing how a phrase will resolve pretty far in advance, which keeps us relaxed while we're flowing and lets us play over the bar line. But how, if those instincts are only well developed in 16ths, our ideas are still going to be boxed in and limited in any other subdivision. But to sum it all up, when you have this stuff together, it will be like seeing in color when it comes to rhythms. And we're not even talking about 4th dimension stuff like quintuplets. This is all stuff you can do with double and triple subdivisions. Next! Why do I think this is so neglected? Try this experiment. See how many songs in your Spotify playlist are either straight 8th or 16th, or shuffles of some sort, i.e. hip-hop beats or dilla beats. Most of them, right? Now, see how many have that 12/8 subdivision of Babylon Sister, or Everybody Wants to Rule the World, or Fool in the Rain. Way fewer. Now, see how many have the backbeat waltz of Mr. Bojangles. There's some, like that 30 Seconds to Mars song. Or this from the Chili Peppers, as long as we're talking about Chad Smith. But there are way fewer. And I think because we don't hear music in these subdivisions much, we just don't conceive of these rhythms unless somebody shows us. Somebody like Roni. So for the real ones, let's break down what Roni's doing here. In the fill part, we already know because we covered it, double triplets. But in the groove part, we touched on this as well. If I play triplets on the snare and play the kick drum every 3, that's one way to subdivide 12 strokes. But I can also play the kick every 4, which turns the feel into more of a 3/4. I can play a beat using the subdivision trick, and I'll keep the hats going on the original quarters. Finally, if you really want to imply the other meter, you can alternate cleanly back and forth between the kick and snare. So for extra credit and to take Roni's challenge, you can play 2 bars of the implied metric modulation, then 2 bars of fills and double triplets. Good luck. Anyway, did we do a thing, you guys? I'm making a couple of block and tackle actual drumming concept videos these few weeks. Let me know in the comments if you're enjoying them. Anyway, as I said before, if you'd like to get yourself a completely free transcription and support the channel, just click the link below the player and tell us where to send it on the next page. Dudes, it's been real. I always enjoyed these. See you again real soon in another lesson of the week.